going on, guys? Welcome back to this episode of Outside the Arena with Rob and Griff. I'm Griffin Senek, joined by my co-host Rob Goldberger, and it's good to be back. Sorry for the little hiatus, guys. It's been a few weeks just figuring out college life and then also both our schedules. But we're back. We're filming once again. Hopefully, we'll be back weekly. That's the goal. We're back this weekend, and we're going to dive right into it. It's going to be a little bit of a quicker episode than you may see typically during the NFL season. But we're going to jump right in. We really haven't had the chance to talk about the NFL season so far, which is crazy. But real quick, we're going to start off before we talk about the games for this week. This season, I mean, it's been a crazy season so far. A few teams definitely stand out, and we'll start off with your Philadelphia Eagles, Rob. Undefeated so far. Their offense looks incredible. I mean, they look amazing. I know you're super excited. Your thoughts on the Philadelphia Eagles season so far?
Yeah, I mean, I said before the year that they would be at least the same or have a better record if Jalen Hurts didn't improve at all from last year. And I mean, the guy, he doesn't even look like that's where it all starts, obviously. I mean, the guy doesn't even look like the same quarterback out there, which is just, it's great to see. He's not bailing out of the pocket as quickly. He's not bailing to his right as quickly. He's actually throwing the ball to the middle of the field. And of course, having two essentially number one receivers really does help. I mean, AJ Brown is just he's just a monster. I mean, I think every 50-50 ball is really his. And I think just this team has very few weaknesses. I said it coming into the year that, I think they, despite their 9 sacks on Sunday, I think that pass rushing could be a little bit of a weakness in the future against maybe more talented offensive lines. But I Darius Slay and James Bradbury, I mean, I know obviously their QBR, obviously it's it's not the best stat, but QBR when targeted, that they rank at number 1 and 2 in the league. So I mean, I think just a lot of smart, shrewd signings. And what the Eagles have really done is capitalize off, no matter what about Jalen Hurts, the value that they're getting for that pick is unbelievable. I mean, he was chosen at selection 53. He's making just over $1 million or $2 million this year, which is pretty crazy, compared to some of the other guys, including Carson Wentz, for God's sakes. But I think it's really brilliant team building. And then, once Hurts starts to earn that second contract, if he keeps up his play, then, by that time, you're already phasing out the vets with new guys. So I think it's just it's very smart team building, taking advantage of this window where the QB didn't get paid. Obviously, the Raven wasn't getting paid. Obviously, the Ravens tried to do it too, but, obviously that situation is sort of coming to a head. I mean, but yeah, I think that, that's sort of the moral of the story for the Eagles. Their season for the Eagles, they were able to build up their skill positions and lines so well through free agency and through some smart draft selections, but all because what really gives them the true freedom to get guys such as Bradbury and Brown and give Brown that huge contract was Jalen Hurts' salary for this season.
Yeah, the power of the rookie contract, especially like you said, he wasn't a first round quarterback. He's not, obviously, if you go number 1, you're still not making that much, but it's a lot more than what Jalen Hurts is at. You nailed it. I mean, the Philadelphia Eagles, we talked about it all offseason. They had a great offseason and really built their team in a good way. Whereas, you look at in the division, the Dallas Cowboys did the exact opposite. They tore down and, they're 2-1 somehow right now. So we'll see. But obviously, I think this is Philly's division to lose. We've been saying that basically throughout the offseason even. And I mean, Jalen Hurts, he is on a different level right now. He's been incredible. And I think AJ Brown was such a key addition. I mean, you've been talking about all offseason. He's played as good as anyone out there right now. And like you said, that defense, those corners, Darius Slay, I mean, we saw him against Justin Jefferson on I guess it was Monday Night Football. This guy is one of the best corners in the NFL. And James Bradbury, obviously, he maybe isn't at that level he once was in his peak or his prime, but he's still one of the best corners in the NFL. So this team is very good. I don't really know what to say. I think that they're going to have a lot of success. They have a really good O-line.
They really have. The thing about the Eagles too is that they're gonna go 15-2 or 14-3 this year because their schedule is so easy. I mean, their next few games go something like Jaguars, which will be a test. I mean, we'll get to the Jags in a second, but I think you got the Jags, the Cardinals, the Cowboys at home, the Steelers, the Texans that follow. I mean, this team really should. The goal for them should be to be, I think, either 9-0 or 10-0 going into that Sunday night game with the Packers at home. So I mean,
which is crazy to say. I mean, look, that's probably a little wishful thinking. I don't think they're
sure
this
because
ungodly team. Yeah, and there's just always bad weeks.
Yeah. No. But I just think it's interesting. They'll probably be favored until every game up until that game for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, agreed. And very good start. You couldn't ask for much more. you mentioned the Jaguars. I mean, we can dive right into them. I mean, what a difference a year makes. This team looks completely different offensively, totally different story. Christian Kirk has been incredible so far. James Robinson has looked amazing to my dismay as a Travis Etienne fantasy owner. But yeah, this Jaguars offense, their defense is playing good. I mean, they dismantled the Chargers, and the Chargers are just
Yeah, just they're just
that's that's that's
you
it.
gotta
I
feel
mean,
bad
to be
for.
honest, I think they're screwed for the rest of the way just
I
because of the injuries they're suffering.
Rashawn
Um,
Slater and Joey Bosa. I mean, two of your most important players.
and Herbert's banged up, Keenan's banged up. It's just
Yeah,
a mess.
yeah, no, for sure. I'll go with the Jags here. I mean,
Yeah,
I think really, we beat this Urban Meyer horse, this dead Urban Meyers for months at this point. But I'll just beat it one more time here. I mean, never mind. But that I just think like this dude was not an NFL head coach, and like I just think it's just like Doug Peterson has just come in. I think he really has made things simpler, despite obviously more complex system. He's really just made things simpler for Trevor Lawrence. Like you said, there are real weapons there. I like they're just a real NFL team now. I mean, they were just a laughing stock last year, and I mean, I think Trevor I think has definitely flashed that number one pick potential, especially last week. I mean, last week obviously we're not talking about the Chargers that we were at the beginning of the season, but to go in on the road, I suppose, and win by 4 touchdowns is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, this is a good football team, and I would venture to say maybe even the favorites in the AFC South rather. I mean, obviously I think you still have the Colts there because they beat the Chiefs last weekend. Obviously they really needed that, but the Jags beat them 24-0 the week before. I'm not sold on the Titans. Texans are the Texans. I think that the Jags turnaround is going to be. I think that they're going to be right there for a playoff spot at the end of the year. Yeah, Griff, you look like you have some.
yeah. I think. Look, they're off to a great start. I still would pick the Colts over them. I mean, you look at week 2, sure, but Michael Pittman was out, Alec Pierce was out that game. Shaquille Leonard still hasn't played this season. Like the Colts are missing very big pieces here. So, yeah, like, oh, wait, is it Shaquille Leonard now? It's Shaquille
No,
Leonard now, right?
yeah. He changed his name because it was Darius Leonard, and then he's like, I
Yeah,
actually want to go by Shaquille Leonard because that's his name.
right. Because I like said it and I was like, wait,
No,
that's
no, no.
wrong. But no, it's right. Yeah, it
No.
was
It is right.
Darius Leonard.
It's right. It's right now.
Shaquille Leonard, yeah. So they're missing especially against that Jags game. I mean, they missed a lot of pieces. I think Matt Ryan, it's already been clear though that this guy is a shell of his former self. He's, you
Yeah.
know, probably not that much better than what Carson Wentz was last year, maybe a bit better, but I don't think he's gonna be anything special. I just think they need to run the ball like they did last year. I just haven't seen that from them. That Jags game, Jonathan Taylor had like 9 carries. I understand you're down, but you should be pounding the run with Jonathan Taylor, even Naheem Hines. I mean, 30, 40 times a game, and that's what they did last year, and it worked. And I don't know why there's been times where
Well, they
Frank
did
Reich
miss
is
the
just
playoffs, to be fair.
yeah, well,
And
yeah,
that was
but
because of their quarterback let them
that
down.
game, yeah, that wasn't Jonathan Taylor.
No.
There's just times where Frank Reich just kind of abandons the run, and then there's times where Jonathan Taylor has 30 carries in the game. I don't really get it. I would still pick the Colts, but regardless, the Jags. I think this team will probably end up winning like 7 or 8 games. They'll be
Yeah.
right up there,
And I think
which
I
is
really do think that might be enough in that division. Like I think that division is awful.
yeah, it's a terrible division. I mean, the Titans suck, but the Titans are one of those teams that just will find a way to win eight
Yeah,
or
right.
nine games because
They'll be
they're
down.
so well coached. Mike
Yeah, no,
Vrabel
they
is
are.
such a good
They are.
coach.
But Tannehill, man, Ryan Tannehill. I mean, I think him and Davis
He's a
Mills.
bottom he's a bottom probably 8 or 10 quarterback in the
Yeah,
NFL.
I agree. Which is crazy because at this time last year, people were calling top 10 to 12 shots for Ryan Tannehill. But look, I mean, obviously, I think Derrick Henry had a nice week last week, but like we said before the year, I mean, it's just kind of brutal to recover from an injury like that as a workhorse running back.
He looks good though. I
He
think
does look good.
he's gonna be
He
okay.
does look
I
good.
don't know if he'll be what he was at the beginning of last year.
That dude for the first 10 games last year was on just. I mean, he was going to finish like 2,400 yards.
Yeah. Well, I did this week. I mean, I do have him in fantasy also, but
He had
the
a
way
nice
they used him in the
5.8.
passing game was very interesting this
Yeah.
last week, and it worked to their favor. The screens, I mean, he was getting open, and that really worked out. So we'll see, especially with one of the better blocking wide receivers with Robert Woods. I mean, stuff like that is going to be a little more successful than other teams. So we'll see. But yeah, like you said, Jaguars, great start. Trevor Lawrence has looked a lot better than last year already. So good things there. I do want to pivot real quick before we jump into our predictions for the week to the Vegas Raiders. Obviously, 0-3. Pretty shocking to say. I mean, this team I thought that they would have a very successful season. They still can, but 0-3. I mean, what are your thoughts? How worried are you about the Raiders?
I mean, I'm very worried, and I'm the primary person I'm worried about is Josh McDaniels for me
I don't
because
know how that man got a head
this
coaching
is a
job.
guy who failed miserably at his first head coaching stint. And listen, that was 12 years ago. Like I get it, or 13 years ago at this point. When he first got that job, I understand that that might be enough time, but like this guy was. It's just to me, it's like how many guys are successfully bringing this Patriot way thing to other places. Matt Patricia failed at it. McDaniels failed at it previously, and now he's doing it again. Like Brian Flores, I guess you can make the argument for. I mean, that obviously situation turned out to be very messy. But this whole, I think obviously guys from the Patriots tree are very risky to hire. Number one, especially when there's a guy that has a shot, and I don't get how they're using Devontae Adams. Like this guy is not getting the ball enough at all the last 2 weeks.
Week one was, I mean, he looked great week one.
He did,
Yeah.
but why aren't they throwing the ball to him? I know he's gotten a couple of red zone targets. I mean, that seems to be where he's being used the most, but I don't understand it. I mean, I think Darren Waller's play has been a cause for concern as well. I mean, he really did. He looked poor last week. And I mean, losing to the Titans is brutal because this is a team, to me, it's a really indictment on the race. If you're the Raiders, this is a team you should be beating into the ground. If you're looking ahead, if you're looking to compete for the AFC with those teams in your division, by the way, which doesn't look as formidable as it did at the beginning of the year, does it?
The Denver Broncos.
It kind of looks like the path is cleared for the Kansas City.
My Jerry Jeudy take is
it's aging well so far. Listen,
yeah.
we're not gonna take any victory laps 3 weeks in or anything. But
no, yeah, I know.
But like I mean the Raiders. I'm just concerned about McDaniels. I really am. I think that's
I agree. I think it's just the wrong guy at the helm, and that I think like this guy will be fired at the end of the season if this is not turned around, and maybe even in the middle of the season if they go like 0-6 to start the year. There's just going to be no tolerance with this level of talent. You can't mess around with what you have right now. I mean, there's just no way about it. But yeah, I just think they're just like you said, they're just misusing this offense. I mean, Devontae Adams not getting the ball enough. Hunter Renfrow week one, I mean, this guy barely saw the ball, and I know he had some fumbles and some drops, so he was kind of a mess that week. But Darren Waller hasn't looked amazing. Josh Jacobs, I feel like they should be using more. I mean, Josh Jacobs, this guy is like he's been nothing but like solid in the NFL, and it feels like every year he's just like in a committee or some weird nature.
He'll be an Eagle by week 8. Don't worry.
Yeah. That would be a great move for the Eagles. But
I want them to pick up an early down back. Sorry, a little tangent, but yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. We're gonna see what happens. I mean, this is obviously a very bad start for the Raiders, losing to a team like the Titans. I mean, I think it's clear also that their defense is not very good.
Yeah. I mean,
but I mean that secondary is pretty brutal. But we'll see. They got to turn it around instantly, though, or I would not be surprised to see Josh McDaniels fired. I mean,
it's just crazy.
It's crazy. I mean, obviously the John Gruden stuff is very bad and what happened in that nature, and I don't condone any of it. But obviously he was running the show in a weird way. But maybe if he was the head coach, this would be a different story. But their draft.
Well, I just would have gone with I just can't believe that how is Josh McDaniels your hire? I don't understand that. Like you said, you've been really you praised the Mike McDaniel hire all off season, and he's obviously been
he's a stud.
Fantastic.
We're going to talk about the Dolphins in a sec with the Bengals.
Yeah, fantastic. So that's just a little precursor, but I don't understand how you're not going for one of these young or late 30s, early 40s something minds. Like, why are you? And Josh McDaniels, so, I mean, not to quantify it by age, but Josh McDaniels had a shot already at a certain point. Yeah,
and it's not, to me, it's not like that Patriots offense was like anything crazy. Like, and another example is like Todd Bowles for the obviously his Jet stint was terrible, but what he did in Tampa Bay with that defense was just incredible. Like, it was incredible. That guy deserved another shot. Josh McDaniels, like, once Brady left, that offense has just been like, and we're seeing it this year. And I predicted it. This Patriots team is not good at all.
Yeah,
they are terrible.
If I could just say something about that. Like, Matt Patricia is essentially their offensive coordinator, by the way. I don't know if you know this. I think you do, right? Like, Matt Patricia is essentially their offensive coordinator. And, like, You can tell, dude. I mean, you can tell. And they're gonna look really bad the next 5 weeks. I mean, people, don't love Mac, but like, I wonder what this offense is about to look like with Brian Hoyer, Bailey Zapp, running the show. I think it's gonna get really ugly in New England really fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, chalk up another W for the goat, I guess, right?
Yeah. All right,
Uh,
let's jump into it. We don't have too much time, so we're gonna have to go a little quicker than usual on these weekly predictions. But I mean, we get to do the Thursday night game, which I guess is the benefit of filming on a Thursday.
yeah,
Um,
this is a
Dolphin.
great game, great game.
Oh my God! I mean, Tua, man, Tua's looked very good this year. Crazy,
Yeah,
but he has looked fantastic. Very exciting to watch. As has this been offense? I mean, this offense just that Ravens game was nuts. I mean, it's a shame we didn't get to talk about that last week. Dolphins Bengals though. I'm gonna start. I'm pick. It's tough because the Dolphins are
yeah,
banged up. Tua's banged up, but I'm still picking the Dolphins, man. I'm riding the wave. I think this defense is really good. The Bengals, I mean, they beat the Jets. That's their only win of the season right now. I'm not too moved by that. I think they're a good team, but I don't know if their Super Bowl hangovers been a real thing. I don't know what's going on in Cincinnati per se. Their offensive line though is still not very good. Which like they're so overhyped, man. Like they're signing like Alex Kappa and like
Lyle
Ted Karras.
Collins, like you're not
Yeah,
that
like
good.
come on. Like everyone like acted like they were signing like these all pros, and it's like these guys are like not
Yeah, they're
journeymen,
they're
like they're
they're, they're
fine
scrubs.
offensive linemen.
Yeah, they're scrubs.
But yeah, I'm gonna go with the Dolphins, man. I think this offense is just gonna be, and you hear the stuff about Tyreek Hill and Eli Apple. I mean, oh
Yeah,
my
there's
god,
that's I was
I
just
think
gonna
it's gonna
bring it up.
be, I think it's gonna be ugly tonight if those two match up.
I think it is gonna be a nasty game. I really do agree. Like I think that this is like gonna be
Oh,
a
we'll see some fights tonight.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Uh I'm gonna go with the Dolphins as well here. I really want to pick the Bengals. I really want to pick them in those, nice white out unis, but I think the Dolphins are honestly just going to be too much for them. And I really don't think that this Bengals team is that good, to be honest with you. Like their offense
yeah,
fucking sucks. Like, I hate to say it, but like Joe Burrow isn't like he's still a great quarterback, obviously, but he's not, playing that hero ball of last year where that offensive
yeah.
line play sort of rendered like and they're like this has always been true of Burrow, but like that team just takes a lot of sacks, man. Like it's like you were saying, like
It's not good for him. Yeah,
yeah, I mean it's ridiculous. So I'm gonna go agree. Dolphins gonna ride the hot streak and take come out of Cincinnati with the W.
yeah. I mean, Mike McDaniel, that guy is. I mean, he's just like so funny too. Like I just you just
Definitely
can't
great.
not like that guy. I mean, he must be so loved in that locker room.
Yeah.
Vikings Saints. Man, the Saints have been disappointing. Oh, is this a London game?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. First London game of the year. I didn't even realize that. Um, I mean, this is Jameis is very banged up. Michael Thomas is hurt. I'm gonna go with the Vikings. Since week one, they haven't really looked the same. Their offense, Justin Jefferson has had two bad weeks now. He's guarded by Marshawn Lattimore, I guess, in this game. It's gonna be maybe a challenge for him, but I think they get it done. Um, I'm worried about the Saints right now. Michael Thomas and Jameis have missed the last two practices, so there's cause for concern with the health of those two. And if Andy Dalton's the quarterback, then this is going to be an ugly one. So I'm going to go Vikings here.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Vikings here too. I mean, I actually think that the Saints are one of the worst teams in football, to be honest with you. Like, I think that this is a really bad football team. And by the way, do you know who owns their first round pick this year?
The Eagles.
Eagles. I mean, that's gonna be a real chess piece to have if we don't end up needing a quarterback. But I think like I still think the
Imagine
Vikings,
if you guys drafted like Smith and Jigba to play in the slot.
dude. I want Will Anderson, and I want Will Anderson as
Well, you're gonna have to have like the top. I don't think you're getting a top three pick with the Saints pick. I don't think they'll be that bad.
I don't know. They really should be 0-3 if the Falcons didn't collapse like they always do.
Yeah.
I mean,
Chris Olave though. Chris Olave is a stud.
yeah, he is a stud. He is a stud. I'm gonna go with the Vikings here. Uh, I I still think that they're a good team. I think their offense has been sputtering. I think the Vikings are probably a solid wild card team, and I think that the Saints are really like you said. Jameis is just not it. There was a lot of revisionism going around about Jameis and oh well, he's gonna be good like this that. First off, he's not working with Sean Payton anymore. Let's make that clear. I think a lot of people are forgetting about that. Like I just don't get why everybody thought Jameis was going to come out and be this different QB that he was in Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, he's worse than he was in Tampa Bay. Like,
Yeah. He's just not like I think he's just really hurt right now too. I think he's playing through a lot of injuries that are
I
really
agree, and I think his knee probably isn't fully healed.
yeah, 100%. Yeah.
And I think that the Saints are going to have a bad year, and I'm not really sure why they traded away their first round pick last April, but I'm grateful for
They're
it.
a bit of a mess. Seahawks Lions. I think the Lions are going to easily win this game. The Lions are a good team, man. They are a good team. I mean, no DeAndre Swift, but I don't even think that matters. I think Jamal Williams is just fine. Amon-Ra St. Brown is a stud.
Yeah, he's carrying my
And
fantasy.
this offensive line is something else. It's really good. I mean, this Lions team, they get a good quarterback, they are going to be legit. And they don't even have Jameson Williams playing. I mean, this is
Yeah,
man, if they get one of those quarterbacks, I mean, this is one of those teams that instantly is going to be a playoff team, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And they might already make the playoffs this year. There's a chance.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything you're saying. I actually think that the Lions are going to make the playoffs this year. Obviously, last week was a tough blow to that. Which in a game they really should have won. But I want to bring up one guy in particular, and obviously, there's some storylines surrounding this game too. It's Jeff Okuda has showed substantial improvement. I mean, we talked about him before the year about being keys to the Lions' improvement, and obviously, I mean, I think he's delivered. DK Metcalf obviously called him out and said that he doesn't cover anybody one-on-one, this and that. So that'll be very interesting to watch on Sunday. I do hope DK goes off personally. He is on my fantasy team. He week of the year last week. But I'm gonna go with the Lions here. Obviously, I mean the Seahawks are really bad. They have no quarterback. So I mean, no, actually, put some respect on Gino's name. He's like a top 22 or 3 quarterback.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna go with the Lions here. Like you said, I think they've got a really solid foundation, and I think their offense, even with Jared Goff, is legitimately good right now.
Yeah. Next game, Jets Steelers. I'm actually going to pick my New York Jets here. Zach Wilson's season debut. The Pittsburgh Steelers offense is just it's terrible. It's not very good. TJ Watt still is out too, I believe. So I'm going to be honest, Garrett Wilson, this guy is going to be a top 5 receiver in like 2-3 years, I think, in the NFL. He is so good. Sauce Gardner looks great. I mean, this team has played good so far. Breece Hall has been good. Michael Carter has shown, some flashes. I mean, this team, I think, really the young future. It's bright. It's just, is Zach Wilson going to be the guy at quarterback? I think this is a maker to break a year, to be honest, at this point already, because if they're bad and you have one of those top picks, you make a selection. I'm going to go with the Jets, though. I think that this might be the last week for Mitch Trubisky if things don't turn around. Just because why would they keep wasting their time starting him?
Okay, they're already wasting. Yeah, I agree. I'm going to go with the Jets here, too, actually. I can see like a total melt. I think this is the week where the Steelers are going to totally melt down. I think Kenny Pickett could be the starter next week. And I agree. I mean, I like this young Jets offense. I think the big question mark, obviously, let me just say one thing. It's a shame Mekhi Becton got hurt, because then you'd really be able to see all the pieces come together. But
he's just like, you just can't even think about him at this point. He's just
obviously I'm a big Joe Douglas fan too, because he comes from the Howie Roseman tree of GMs. He used to be, he was with the Eagles during their Super Run. But I think I'm just fascinated to see how Zach Wilson plays on Sunday. I mean, this is a huge game for him. I don't even think the importance is overstated. This is by far the most important game of his career. He's playing against a good defense. He is, but
definitely. Minka is a stud.
Yeah, he is one of the best safeties in football, year in, year out. But I think I'm gonna go with the Jets here. I agree, Griff. Oh God, they're not putting this game on television, are they?
Bears Giants.
I'll go. I can go here.
All right.
I'm gonna go with the Chicago Bears here.
3-1 Bears.
3-1 Bears. And it's funny because if you look on Twitter, you look on anywhere, like all their fans are like, we fucking suck. Like Justin Fields is a bum, like all this. And like, it's all true. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm a big Justin Fields fan.
Yeah.
At a certain
point,
it's
not even his fault. You can't even blame Justin Fields.
I agree. He's in a bad situation, but the guy needs to flash something at some point.
Yeah.
I mean, he's
the one flash he's had in his career was that night game against the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah. Where he had, like, this guy is not completing 10 passes a week. And this is the way to break it, because the Giants are awful. I mean, talk about 2 deceiving records, 2-1. mean, these teams, I wouldn't surprise me if these were, two of the bottom 3 place teams in the NFC when it comes to the end of the season. So, but I am going to go with the Chicago Bears here.
I was considering going with the Bears, but I'm gonna go with the Giants just because the best player in this game is Saquon Barkley. It's not even close. He's had a complete resurgence this year. He's been great. And to be honest, with the lack of receivers right now, they should give the ball to Saquon Barkley 50 times in the game. I think every offensive play, they should just
That's
give it to
that's
Saquon
Sterling
Barkley.
Shepard injury. That's Sterling Shepard.
Oh, the
Yeah.
MetLife turf, man, it's real. It's a real thing. I'm not going to waste any more time. We're already kind of on time
Yeah.
crunch. So, Titans, Colts. I'm going to pick the Colts here. I just think they're the better team. This is one of those games that the Titans might win. But Alec Pierce, I think, is back. He was back last week, so he'll be back. Michael Pittman. I don't know what the deal is with Shaq Leonard, though. I really don't understand where he is, but we'll see.
I'm gonna go with the Colts here. I think they're gonna ride that hot wave off the Chiefs victory, which is definitely the most surprising victory of last week. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with the Colts here. I made my thoughts clear on the Titans already. I think that this is really like this is a team an injury away from being a bottom feeder. So
yeah. Chargers, Texans. I mean, the Texans, man, Davis Mills I don't know if he's it. It's been a big downward spiral for the first 3 weeks. Obviously, it's still early, but we got to see. I mean, it's tough.
I'm gonna go bold here, Griff.
Yeah.
I'm gonna call a Texans victory.
And they beat him last year.
A Davis Mills break. I remember it. I'm gonna go with the Davis Mills break, and this is gonna be one of those classic Chargers losses where they have 500 total yards of offense. They have the ball for 45 minutes, and they end up losing. They run 90 plays, but I'm gonna go with the Texans here. I think just something in my stomach is telling me that Davis Mills is gonna have his breakout week this week.
I'm gonna go with the Chargers. Keenan Allen looks like he should be back this week. Herbert should play. That offense should be a lot better, and the Houston Texans are absolute garbage. Yeah. Cleveland Browns, man. The Cleveland Browns, they should be 3-0 if they didn't absolutely implode against the New York Jets in all-time fashion. But this team has looked pretty good so far. I mean, the problem in the Kevin Stefanski era, and it's been a theme every year, they just cannot close out games. They are incapable of doing it. Every game they're up like 15 points, and it's close at the end because they can't close out games. And that's a huge issue. I don't know if it's a defensive issue, an offensive issue, but in the Kevin Stefanski era, they have not been able to close out games. I'm obviously still picking the Browns, though. I mean, Nick Chubb is they're finally getting him the ball enough, and he should be getting it even more. I mean, he is so good. But yeah, give me the Browns here.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Browns here too. I've really just been disappointed by the Falcons. I'm gonna focus on the Falcons here since you covered the Browns. I've just been disappointed by the Falcons overall. I mean, they had a nice victory last week. They win last week? No, they lost last week, didn't they? Did they win? Did they even win?
The Falcons, they won against the Seahawks.
Right? They beat them.
Yeah.
They beat them.
They beat the Seahawks 1-2. Yeah.
Okay. That's it. Sorry, I was second guessing myself there. But yeah, I'm gonna go with the Falcons here. They had the Browns here, but because the Falcons need to throw the ball to Kyle Pitts. Simple as.
Yeah.
Simple as. They had their best. They dropped 30 points when they threw the ball to Kyle Pitts. Who knew? It's a novel idea. Throw the ball to your best player. Drake London is a beast too, by the way. I mean,
he's very good. Oh my god.
But for me, I'm gonna do the same thing I was doing with the Steelers here. I'm really just clamoring to see Desmond Ridder start, and I'm gonna go with the Browns due to Marcus Mariota's ineptitude. So
Commanders, Cowboys. I'm gonna go with the Commanders here.
Wow.
I think that the Cooper Rush, 2-game hot streak is, he's been good, but I'm gonna go with the Commanders here. Bounce back week for Carson Wentz. I think this is gonna be an ugly, sloppy game that they just kind of win.
Yeah, I think both of these teams in current form are bad. I think the Cowboys are a good team. Obviously, once Dak gets back, not a great team by any means, but I'm going to go with the Cowboys here still. I think the Cowboys defensive unit is just going to Micah Parsons against that Commanders.
Yeah, he's a beast.
And the sack-taking master himself, Carson Wentz. I think that this is just going to be, honestly, I think it'll be a little sloppy, but I think that this game lends itself to an easy Cowboys victory.
Eagles, Jags. I'm going to pick the Eagles. Look, the Jags have had a hot start. I just think the Eagles are in another class compared to them. I do expect some regression in the performance of the Jaguars, so I'm going to pick the Eagles here.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Birds here too, obviously. I'm excited to see Doug EP back at the Link this weekend. His first time back. Like I said, I think I do think that this is going to be a closer game than a lot of people expect, though. I think that the Jaguars are going to put up a good fight. Like I think they're a good team, like I said. But like you said, I
Yeah.
think the Eagles have so far staked out a claim as one of the elite. So I'm going to go with the Eagles here.
Bills Ravens, this is a really good game. Two of the best teams. I mean, both these quarterbacks, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. I mean, what a season these guys are
Two
having,
MVP
especially
frontrunners.
Lamar.
Lamar is
Yeah.
just on a different level. I mean, I'll just talk about Lamar first. I mean, this dude Lamar has been on a different level because I've said it for a while, but he is carrying this offense. Like Rashad Bateman and Mark Andrews are good football players, but he needs some
Mark
help.
Andrews is a stud.
Yeah,
I doubted Mark Andrews, but he's having another
no. He
incredible
is a stud.
season.
No. I mean, he's a touchdown machine. But I think Lamar is just like I think he's been the best quarterback in football so far this year. I think Josh Allen is right. Josh Allen is really right on. He's right on his tail. Let me tell you
Yeah.
that. I think Lamar. I'm gonna go with the Ravens victory. Inspired by some Lamar Jackson brilliance here.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with the Ravens here too.
Okay.
I think Lamar is just so hard to guard, and we've seen the Bills. I mean, this Bills team, that's my problem with this whole preseason Super Bowl narrative that this team is gonna roll through everyone. The Bills just have games where they're just off,
Yeah,
and
they
I
come
know
out.
every
I
team
agree.
has that, but like last year, for example, that game against the Jaguars, like they scored what, like 3 points or something like that. Like they just have games where it's not clicking. And I'm not saying they're a bad team at all. And I'm not saying that's gonna happen this week, but I don't know. That's why I just have a problem like with the preseason narrative that this is like the foregone Super Bowl champion, especially in the AFC where you got the Ravens, the Chiefs, you got all these good teams. I'm gonna go with the Ravens though. They're at home and I think their defense is really good, even though they just lost Michael Pierce and they should be well equipped. But Stephon Diggs, real quick, he's having an incredible season.
Yeah, Stephon Diggs has been a monster. Obviously, a little bit of a down week last week, but I think on his day, that dude's the best receiver in football. So, yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, Tay Adams is obviously there, but we talked about his struggles earlier. But yeah, these are two teams that I expect to honestly, if Lamar keeps up his current level, play deep
Probably
into.
the best two teams in the AFC.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still a Kansas City guy, as you know, but
Yeah,
we'll
but
talk about that
they
next.
haven't looked good since week one. Not at the same level.
Ravens blew that huge lead, though. It's kind of my issue.
That's true. Every team's faulty. We'll see.
Yeah,
Cardinals, Panthers, both overrated teams, I guess. I'm gonna go with the Cardinals. The Panthers, I mean, Baker Mayfield. This guy should not have a job after
no,
this
he's
season. I mean,
awful.
he
This guy
is.
is awful. He's awful. He's awful, Griffin. He's awful. I mean, I
I
just don't
mean,
just play a young quarter.
I
Like,
think you see why. I think everyone's starting to realize why the Browns did what they had to do, even with everything going on. And I'm not condoning what Deshaun Watson did, obviously, but from a football perspective, it was the 100% right move to make 100 times over.
yeah, this guy, yeah, Baker Mayfield's a bum. I think the Cardinals blow too, to be quite honest with you. I
Yeah,
think they suck. Like, I think the Cardinals straight up suck. But I'm gonna go with them here because I think that the Panthers, like, I'm gonna be real. Like, if you lose to the Giants, and this is sort of the logic I applied to the Titans, like you suck if you lose to the Giants.
yeah. And dude, this team. I mean, DJ Moore has looked like he's just been non-existent. CMC just terrible. Matt Rule involved too. Terrible.
Yeah,
Broncos Raiders.
Matt
This
Rule's
is
gonna be fired. I think
yeah.
he's
He'll
gonna be
be
the first coach fired this year.
yeah. Broncos Raiders. I'm gonna go with the Raiders here. I think they will bounce back this week. How many games have they played? I feel like they haven't been in Vegas really. Let me look real quick. Maybe one home game.
I think they've had one home game so far. That's
Yeah,
right.
against that Cardinals OT game, right?
Oh, they blew that.
But
Jesus
the
Christ.
home field advantage is real in Vegas. I mean, they have a very strong fan base. To be honest, I still, even though the Broncos have 2 wins now, I still think they are
Two very
horrific.
unconvincing wins, and that
Yeah.
quarterback has been very unconvincing. Let me just say that he
Ugh.
needs to pick
Yeah.
it up, or they will have
Yeah.
seriously fucked their franchise for a long
Yeah.
time. Um,
hmm
saying that though, saying that, I'm gonna go with the Denver Broncos, and I'm predicting a huge Russell Wilson game. Not
Okay.
expand Broncos here.
All right. Real quick, we got only like a minute or so left.
Yep.
Packers here. This should be a blowout.
Yep, Packers easy. Brian Hoyer is not winning a football game at Lambeau.
Chiefs Bucks. This game should be in Tampa
Oh,
Bay right now. I'm gonna pick the Chiefs. The Bucks offense has not looked right so far. I know Evans will be back, Godwin maybe, Julio maybe, we'll see. But that O line for the Bucks has been very shaky. That defense is incredible though. But I'm gonna pick the Chiefs here.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Chiefs for the very same reason. Obviously, this team really should be 3-0 if the ref
Yeah,
didn't throw the flag on Chris Jones.
Chris Jones. Yeah, that is true.
I'd love to know what Chris Jones said. I really would love to know what Chris Jones said because there are very few flags that weren't that words that weren't that flag. But yeah, I'm gonna go with the Chiefs here. I think that they're the better football team, to be honest with you, especially with the Bucks still are very banged up. Like you
Yeah,
said, that offensive line for the Bucks has been struggling.
yeah,
Like the Bucks offense just hasn't looked great generally this year. So I'm gonna go with the Chiefs.
yeah.
Who 3-0, like I said.
And then lastly, Jimmy G, he's back, Rob. He's back in the
I
mix.
mean, under we sort of predict this, but sort of like under different circumstances. So
Yes, and obviously hope Trey Lance is
yeah, of
healing. It's
course.
obviously not what you want to see. And I mean, the 49ers kind of shot themselves in the foot. I mean, that was just a bad trade to make, clearly. I mean, giving up all that capital and it hasn't worked. It's just ended up in being Jimmy G. But Rams have not been incredible this year. The 49ers last week were bad. I'm going to pick the Rams. I mean, I just think that they're just the better team here by a lot, probably. I don't know by a lot, but
I don't know
they're the
about a
better
lot.
team.
I'm definitely gonna go with the Rams here.
Yeah.
49ers have looked like shit most of the time they've played, to be honest. Like they're just playing awful, boring
They're
football.
not using Debo enough, man.
No, they're
Debo
not.
is
And
non-existent.
I get that there's this like idea that all of his teammates love Jimmy G, but like let's not forget what Jimmy G is. He's still Jimmy G. And
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with the Rams. But that Stafford Cup combo, man. Cooper
Oh,
Cup, just a Hall of Famer. Like that's the best way you can describe Cooper Cup. I mean, Hall of Famer.
yeah, and Allen Robinson really not being used at all. They gave him all that money. But
Uh,
that will do it for this week's episode of Outside the Arena. We will be back next week, most likely. So stay tuned for our episode then. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Check out our Instagram. That will all be in the description. We appreciate you watching, and we'll see you on the next episode of Outside the Arena.